you.
Greetings to you too.
Seriously?
I apologize.
About this Sir Vaculin, you've had an exciting life. Tell me some stories.
Bien sûr. Your interest is gratifying and quite understandable.
How did you save the King of France?
With Providence as my guide, mon ami, I came to the court from the field of battle to bring news of our victory, because, and remember this, the bearer of good news is always rewarded and cherished. But the king was in a bad mood and did not wish to be disturbed. Maybe I thought the news of our victory will dispel his ill humor.
How could you tell him if he didn't want to be disturbed?
Ha! I climbed up to his balcony and into his chambers to surprise him with the joyful tidings. And lo and behold, the king was writhing and gasping on the floor, overcome by one of his fits. Wasting not a moment, I dashed over to him and unblocked his throat, thus saving his life. In return, the king bestowed on me the title of Échanson, or cupbearer, and other generous gifts. And I then spent a while in his service at court. Unfortunately, though, even the king's favor does not last forever, and minor mistakes can come to overshadow good deeds.
What happened at court that led to you being out of favor?
Well, perhaps I shall tell you some other time. Would you not rather hear about the glorious duel between Le Gris and Carouge?
Tell me what happened at court that caused you to lose favor.
Ah, a major setback and a gross injustice, mon ami. It is an unhappy memory, because it was the first time that La Dame Chance abandoned me.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. We can all learn from our failures. And I bet even your failures make for great stories.
Oui, that is certainly true. Very well then. I suffered a combination of misfortunes all at once. But bad luck in business and on a hunt were the worst of all.
You were in business?
Of course. I come from Brabant province, home to the greatest entrepreneur of all. My birthplace gave me an unrivaled nose for corn and the reputation of a financial expert. I was nicknamed the Seer of Louvain, and also the End of Midas. That is, until I persuaded an important nobleman to invest a large sum in maritime trade with Africa. All the ships he bought sank in a tempest. He had to sell off part of his estates to pay off his creditors. Of course, he wrongly blamed me for everything and turned many influential courtiers against me. But my advice was sound. He was simply punished by God for fornicating with every wench from the Pyrenees to Brittany, bragging about it and thus bringing shame on his gentle wife. I told him as much. But some people never admit their mistakes and prefer to blame others.
A sea voyage from France to Africa? You must have known that was a massive risk.
A risk, perhaps. But think of the fortune to be made. A man must think big if he wants to achieve greatness, no?
Big ideas often lead to big trouble. Storms, pirates, sea monsters, uncharted waters. It was a disaster waiting to happen, Baron. You should have tried the Baltic trade route.
You are right. That would have been safer. But that is under Hanseatic control and there is too much competition. Africa, mon ami, that is the land of opportunity. The Arabs sell to the Portuguese via Ceuta and they sell on to us. Just imagine selling further and trading directly with African kings, cutting out all of those middlemen. Remember this, because one day I will be proven right.
What was the hunting incident?
We were out in the royal hunting grounds when I caught sight of a white stag. There had long been rumors about it, so imagine the prestige I would have gained by getting it. I set off after it, pierced its flank with arrows, and unleashed the hounds to finish it off. When I arrived, it turned out that my aunt had not killed a stag, but the horse of a lady, a court favorite of the queen's. I fell out of her favor, and all the doors became closed to me.
You were damned unlucky. That could have happened to anyone, couldn't it?
Quite right. I'm glad you are sensible enough to agree with me. A misfortune like that, which could indeed happen to anyone, would make lesser men rove with laughter. But the other lords were afraid I would outshine them, so they were waiting for a chance to get rid of me. And that chance came along, unfortunately.
Luckery and Cargouche. Sounds like a pair of jesters.
En aucun cas. Jacques le Gris and Jean de Carouge. These two great knights were in a legal dispute over an estate. But above all, when de Carouge was on a campaign, Le Gris fornicated with his wife. She claimed that he had raped her, while he said he had seduced him. And because everyone swore to their own truth on the Bible, the matter had to be settled by combat. First, they jousted. Then they fought on foot with sword and axe. Le Gris thought victory was in his grasp, but de Carouge suddenly pounced on him, wrested him to the ground, and beat him so terribly that he knocked off his helmet and cuirass. Even so, Le Gris refused to admit his guilt, and de Carouge drove a dagger through his neck. And if you promise not to tell, I will let you into a secret about that dagger.
Tell me the secret. I promise I'll keep it to myself.
Bien. As I say, de Carouge killed Le Gris with a dagger. And I found that dagger in the mud after the duel. A blessed blade, an instrument of divine justice. The dagger that ended the last trial by combat France ever witnessed. An item of great value. So, I had several copies made and sold them to rich French noblemen. That is how I first came into wealth. And I used the coin to buy the horse and armor I needed to set off in pursuit of glory in battle.
Ha! That was a good idea. I'd never have thought of that.
You still have a lot to learn, mon ami. But you're young, you have plenty of time. Just keep your mind and eyes open, like I did. It was one of the greatest things I ever saw, and I have seen a lot. Believe me. Half of France came to watch, including the king himself, who then banned trial by combat in France forever. I later told the story to anyone who was interested. One of my listeners, a certain Froissart, wrote my icon down and became famous. I could have written it myself, of course, but I am happy to help others find success.
How did you end up here?
Leaving the court with a modest sum, I launched to visit faraway lands. I traveled a lot, spending time in various countries, and having many great adventures. When I learned that l'Empereur Charles, that great friend of France, had built the magnificent city of Prague in Bohème, I had to see it.
So people in foreign countries speak highly of Prague?
Bien sûr! It was abroad that I heard of King Wenceslas' Silver City and its reputed vast wealth. I bought the abandoned Miskowitz estates and shares in the Kuttenberg mines. And for a time I settled here to provide for myself and wait for King Wenceslas, whom I wished to serve. But even here fate did not let me be. When Sigismund brought his army to the city, I appointed myself to lead its defense. For how better to make King Wenceslas aware of me than by saving his beloved city? Victory was assured, but the burghers had other ideas. The city was handed over to the enemy, and I with it, stripped of my possessions. I languished in captivity, until fate again stepped in by sending you to Malishov.
Sir Vaclin, I'm surprised how well you speak our language. Where did you learn it?
Where do you think? Here, of course. Ce n'était même pas difficile. Perhaps I have already mentioned that I am guided by Providence. She endowed me with many talents, mastery of language among them. I can communicate almost everywhere in the world, and learn every new tongue in a trice. I now speak French, German, Italian, Latin, Hungarian, and Czech. Some English, though that is only a necessary evil.
What other feats have you performed in battle?
Oh, many, mon ami. For one battle does not make a warrior. It would take away to recount them all, so I will just tell you about my second greatest feat. On the Italian field, we faced John Hawkwood, a ruthless Englishman and a fearsome warrior. Surrounded, we were at his mercy. Night fell, and we knew he would attack at dawn, and that would be it. But just then, Providence put an idea in my mind.
Did you set some kind of trap?
You could say so. Unobserved, I mounted my horse and set off to find help. And, La Dame Chance was exceedingly kind to me that day. As I rode away, by chance, I stepped it off of our horses. Thinking we were trying to break through, les Anglais went to head them off. But while the English were occupied with my city, our units managed to flee. I saved many men from certain death that night, and many lords from the disgrace of capture. Needless to say, I was generously rewarded for my valor.
That is indeed incredible. But you were just trying to flee, weren't you?
I wanted to bring reinforcements, but as I say, I merely follow Providence, and she guides my steps, from triumph to triumph, wherever I go. Stick close to me, Henri, and Providence will favor you too.
Thanks for sharing your stories with me, Sir Vaclin.
What was I just thinking about? Good doggy. Good boy. A tankard of ale, thanks. Jesus Christ be praised.
Greetings.
Good day. Oof. Greetings to you too.
I'll just get the corner over here.
Greetings, Henry.
You're always welcome here.
You have a kind master, eh, doggy?
Bread doesn't spoil. Come and buy some good bread.
Shoes here! Shoe repair! Repair while you wait!
Good day to you.
What do you have?
I hope you find what you're looking for next time, good sir.
Go home and sleep it off.
You're getting married tomorrow.
What brings you here? Axes, pans, nails! Take your pick! All quality ware!